And we're recording. What are the questions that are coming up in the practice?
For me, it was reality creating your reality. I'm starting to see it now, what I'm doing. That you can actually have that focus, and you can manipulate. I've seen things be manipulated. So, yeah, being the consciousness and letting that sink in, that we actually are that consciousness, and we actually have that kind of focus and power, and we can actually generally create it. That's kind of sinking in for me, mostly. The changes of that. And
well, it's good when things sink in, but the idea is to let them sink in enough for you to see the questions that you have, so that you can see what it is that you're specifically wanting to know. I will give an example. In one of the dreams, I had, not one of the dreams, one night of dreaming, I'm noticing that a phenomena that occasionally occurs is occurring again. And that is that in the dream fields, my mouth is so dry that I literally can't speak. I can't say the words. There's no moistness in my mouth whatsoever. And so, yeah, of course, the first thing I'm going to wonder about that is, why is that happening? What is it that's creating that effect? So that's my question. Now, I'm going to ask that question. I'm going to be curious about that question a lot during the day. I'm going to be wondering it to myself. When I am shifting from my sleep time to getting up, I'm going to check in with my inner guidance. Is there anything more you want to tell me about this before I get up? See if I get any images, something like that. During my meditation, I'm going to sit down with that. And my meditation, it is going to be basically a silent meditation. However, with me, the energies, I get a lot of energy phenomena, and the inner communication is almost always there. And so I'm going to situate it there to potentially be answered while I'm in my meditation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, until I have my answer, or until I start receiving pieces of my answer and I can start putting pieces together. And now, one day I'm sitting here and I'm talking to everybody in a group, and somebody says, weirdest thing happens to me sometimes, in my experiences, my mouth gets so dry. And now I have something I can help them with. So this is also a reason that we're wanting to get clear about our questions, because if we don't, we're in less of a position to have awareness, to have knowledge that can help other people. So this is why, one, we want things to happen in our full conscious awareness, and two, why we initially want to be aware of our questions, so that we're aware to when the answers come in, so that three, we're in a better position to be able to assist other people. All of that and more.
But that is my question. My question is, and always has been, is what am I? What am I? And that is what's getting shown. It is gradually showing me. So I'm getting my question answered, but I'm not questioning like little details of that. I'm just asking, what am I? And it is starting to show me exactly what I'm asking for. I just don't have questions that I don't think you're thinking.
Atma Vichara is a practice. Atma Vichara, the question, who am I, is a practice.
Is that a practice?
That is the main practice of Vedanta, the main practice of a yoni, someone who practices jnana, knowledge, as opposed to yoga, meditation. Okay, and that was my path. So it's not that I'm not understanding what you're meaning when you're saying that that's your main question. I'd like to suggest to you that that's your main practice. And one of the ways you practice that is when you sit in meditation and you find a thought arising, you say, to whom does this thought occur? Period. This is Atma Vichara,
Right.
meaning
Okay.
who am I? To whom is this thought occurring? You'll notice it's like cloud busting. All of a sudden, there's
Right.
no more dialogue because there's not a knowing. So there's this big silent open space. And you get to sit in that for a period of time until again you find a thought rising up and you say, to whom does this thought occur? and again, it's like cloud busting. First the thought,
Okay.
and you get to sit in the wide open space. This is a practice. As far as
Right.
your specific practices of CE5, of inner true talk, of closed eye sun gazing, there's going to be things that happen in the practice. Like there is when you're in your dreaming, there'll be questions that come up. You'll begin to see that this one thing is happening, a lot this week, and you'll wonder what it is. That's your question. You don't get the questions when you don't practice. So if you're practicing and not getting questions, something's not correct. Something's not correct.
I'm just getting different feelings. I feel different. It's changing for me. It's not a question. It's just feeling different. I feel different. My perspective starts to change. It is changing me. It's not.
So you
I'm
make
not
the
putting questions as you're
observation.
putting it.
I'm sorry, I keep interrupting your sentences. So you make the observation. You cite what the change is. You don't just say something is changing. You look at it and see what it is that is changing so that you can cite that. You can log it in your log. And then as you go on your days and weeks and months of practice, you'll notice patterns. And those patterns, questions will arise. Well, I wonder why that keeps happening. I mean, it could be as simple as that, but you got to know what that is in order for the question to arise. You have to look at something specifically enough to be able to write it down. If it's not shareable data, things are going to be vague and in the background. You won't be able to say much about what's happening. You may be able to say something's changing, but you won't get to the point where you know what is changing.
Feelings are changing. Feel better. Feel lighter. Feelings are changing. But it's only, I'm just coming to me today. It only just came to me the last few hours.
And then you keep looking in. The feeling is changing. Question, what is invoking the change in feelings? Okay, there's your question. Okay, you keep looking at it, and you keep looking at it with your questioning. You shift out of body, you're in the void, this bright white light flashes at you. What is that? I mean, it happens immediately. Now, getting into being able to cognize those questions is the same thing as being able to get in there and cognize that you are out of body.
Right, okay.
To go into your dream time and cognize the fact that you're dreaming in a dream field. And this is happening. And the more you do that, the more you develop an inner capacity to bring that data back with you through shifts in brainwave patterns and frequencies, etc. Okay, how do you hold
it's interesting
something
your
this
comment
big in a width like this? So how do you hold what is happening in theta and beta? Christian, because I keep doing this. I keep bringing back things from deep delta into theta. How am I doing that? Questions will arise. And they'll arise the more you practice. If you're just practicing 2 times a week, this will keep you in the game, but you'll never advance. It's not enough to build momentum. If you're practicing 5 to 7 times a week, here we have potential momentum, but only so far. Now, what happens when you bring that practice into practicing as a group and or potentially teaching that? Now you're achieving the exponential rate of growth. Okay, so you can see that there's a process to this. And I'm not saying to push things. You definitely don't want to push things. I'm saying if you're ready to advance, these things will almost naturally begin occurring. Your interest will grow to be that large to where you literally do not want to live a day without sitting to meditate. You know, that is the most important thing to you. You know, everything else, heaven and earth, move to accommodate that. You know, it just starts naturally occurring. Because as it does, things will kick up from the 3D frame into other frames of reference. Other reality frames will begin coming in. And just sort of have to be ready for that. The central nervous system has to be ready for that. So this is another part of what the practices are devised for. The practices should always involve all capacities of your being, meaning there should be mental practices, there should be energetic practices, and physical practices. All. This is what helps prepare your whole central nervous system for additional consciousness states. When you
That's what it feels
contemplate,
like I'm going through. So, I'm sorry.
so I'll just end that sentence there. Tell me where you are now and your genuine capacity for practice. Once or twice a week, 2 or 3 times a week. Where are you in your capacity for practice?
I'm doing my meditation almost every day, apart from the Tuesday at the weekends. The Friday to Saturday, I can't be done. The kids are here, so I don't get time. The time goes right through to the early hours in the morning. I'm knackered. So,
So,
but every other day that I manage or I get time, I sit and do the meditation. I sit quiet and just do the meditation. But that's just changing into a different kind of meditation. But it's every day as I can manage it.
so now,
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
terms of days, tell me what you just said. How many days do you practice?
All right, I say 5 out of 7 at least. I can get 5 days in out of 7 days.
I got 4 out of that, so that's why
5
I
out of
was
the 2.
checking.
Tuesday, I'd probably get it in the morning, but that'd just be a meditation in the morning. It wouldn't be a full practice that I would do. I'd just like to sit for a while.
So here's my suggestion
So
to you.
5 days.
Because we need to practice every day, because we should practice every day, devise practices that you're able to achieve on your very busy days.
None. With the kids, on that, none. My attention is demanded
James,
at a continuous rate.
you're thinking too big. You're thinking too big. Let's go back to the beginning of the talk. The practice can be as simple as taking 3 full breaths before you get up in the morning. If you can't do that, you're not ready. So if there's literally not any practice that you can do on your busy days, then you are where you are. But I honestly don't see how you could not take 3 deep, full breaths before getting up out of the bed in the morning. I'm unable to see the impossibility of that.
That wasn't what I was doing, because I wasn't doing that. I was just doing the meditation. I wasn't thinking about just doing breaths. I can do 3 breaths in the morning.
This is what I'm saying. Devise practices for yourself for your very busy days. Devise at least 12 of them. It doesn't mean that you're going to be activating all 12 of those. It means for this consciousness experiment, on your very busy days, these are the practices I'm going to do.
Okay.
Okay. like just off of the top of your head, what would be another very simple but powerful, impacting practice that you could do on a busy day?
I can only think of mindfulness, trying to be. I was trying to have connections with my kids and stuff in a bigger way. I can only think of being mindful, just trying to see if I can feel any connections, bigger connections, and what's going on. So that's all I can think of at the moment.
Okay, and let's bring that into something very specific. For instance, every day when I pick up my toothbrush to brush my teeth, because I brush my teeth every day, I'm going to purposefully feel the toothbrush in my hand for a moment first. Here's a practice. I'm just going to feel that toothbrush in my hand there on purpose. Now, see if there's any information there for me. Yeah, I'm using that one specifically because we brush teeth every day, and two, because I have receding gums. And so I'm always asking questions about what better oral hygiene I can get myself into. So you see, these can be practicing tools for life also. These are very practical things. And not that you have to use that one. Maybe you'll use your sons. You're going to say, come here, sons. And we're going to have a little meditation together. And you stand in a circle or sit in a circle and hold hands. And you're just really going to feel your son's hands in your hands. Okay, and you're going to start your day. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Whoo! Okay, whatever. Maybe that's your practice that you're going to do. Okay, but you're going to bring some more conscious awareness and a tactile sensation throughout the day. And I may use connecting with my sons. I may use this or this, just say what it is. Do you eat together with your sons on the days that you have them?
Yeah, continuously. I don't get a break. It's continuous. One's there on me, one's there. It's just continuous morning right through to pass out.
One meal a day when I'm here with my family, we're going to sit to a prayer before eating. You can make it funny. You can make it interesting, to them. Come up with a little rhyme that you're going to say before you eat your evening meal. Okay, so these are things that you can work into your day, but you're going to do them every day that you're there with your son. Say for the evening meal. You don't have to do it before each and every time you eat. Just before the evening meal, a lot of people focus on family in the evening meal, so that's an easy one to sort of do. Yeah, we're going to do this thing together. And then it's a practice because you're going to do it every time at dinner time when you're with your son. I'm going to work this into being a ritual. It's how we bring some routine or ritual, and we build some momentum with it. So it can be anything. I'm giving some just practical ones, but you can make them different if you want also. Just think of something that you do every day and make a practice out of it.
You're quite free flowing. There's no schedule. I don't do that with my kids. I'm just gonna go with the
James,
flow.
I'm going to give you another.
Don't sit at a very.
I'm going to keep giving you examples until you begin to see some examples for yourself. Every day you walk through doors. Every day. Every day. The door to the bathroom, the door to your room, to the next room. Every day you walk through doors. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's something else you do every day?
Make my cuppa. So, it's just have my coffees and stuff. Drink. Um,
Every day
Sit
you
here.
have a ritual of drinking coffee.
Hmm.
Okay. Every day before I drink my coffee, I'm going to feel the coffee cup in my hand. I'm going to really enjoy the smell of the coffee beans, meaning I'm going to take a deep, full breath. Right? Very deep, full, mindful breath with my coffee. Yeah. So there's a practice. I'm going to do it every day with my first cup of coffee. Now, you'll see how it starts patterning it out and becoming a habit of awareness.
Uh,
Okay, we don't want
so
core
trying to train the
habits.
subconscious sort of thing, trying to train
We
it.
want habits of awareness. Yes. Habits that expand our sense experience, etc. Every day, every door, I gave this one to Laura some time ago. Every time you walk through a door, take a deep full breath. There's your practice. Every time you walk through a door, take one conscious deep full breath. Every time you walk through a door.
So what's that doing? Does that help you bringing your awareness to your awareness sort of idea all the time? Just
It's
to
actually,
trying to,
it's huge.
right. Mm.
But you're going to log at the end of every day. Well, during the day, you're going to like make a little tally. Every time you remember to do it, you're going to make a little tally in your log. So at the end of the day, you can see how many times you remembered. And then, sort of have an idea for if that was, 30% of the time, you remembered one time in three to take the deep full breath, you're going to get an idea of how much you're remembering. And it's an exercise and non-judgment also, because you'll notice that some days you don't even remember all day long to take a deep full breath when you walk through the door. So it's important to do the log. The log
Yeah.
helps keep you accountable, and it shows you things, shows you feelings that you have about yourself in regard to certain things, like when I forget, and you start being able to address all of this. So the practice isn't just taking that deep full breath every time you walk through the door. It's much larger. Maybe we could get Laura over here, because she actually did do it for an extended period of time. She wrote a blog post about it too on her website. It's a very impactful practice and experience. And again, just put little practices like this into your day. The journal, the log is important, because if you don't do the log, you have nothing to give you the feedback, nothing to give you the accountability, nothing to start teaching you about yourself. You say you want to know what you are, who you are. This is a way to do that. You can't bypass who you are as a person, as a personality, as a physical being. You can't bypass the fact that you're a father, that you have children, that you need to eat, or any of all of this. It's all included and involved in the whole package. And it's diving into that breaks you open into your depths, into what more you are. So to get to what more you are, you go straight through the center of you there. And this is one of the ways we begin doing it. So what is something else you do every day?
I'm generally on do a bit of study, but mostly now it's just doing my practice. I'm just doing a meditation and just changing that meditation
Let's come up with
and
practical
getting a
little
feel.
things.
That's what I do every day. I don't
Let's
I
let's
don't
come
do
up.
much else.
Okay, I'm gonna just keep going. Anton, I don't know if this is interesting to you at all, but keep paying attention to yourself there, because I'm coming over to you next. I'm going to keep giving you examples, James, until you can come up with one on your own. Just one on your own. because there are things that you do every day. I've given you the example of brushing the teeth. I've given you the example of walking through doors. I'm going to give you the example now of the fact that every day, very likely, you look at the clock.
The clock? No. No time. Only when I've got something to do, like an appointment with you, I'll look at that.
I
Apart from that, I
guarantee
don't
that
care.
every day you look at the clock.
My
So
clock's actually behind that. I don't, honestly don't.
I guarantee you that every day you look at the clock.
Only this time. Yeah, apart from that, I don't. This time, when I've got an appointment, maybe with you, yeah, and on the group or something. But that's so. I just take a breath.
I
Take a
guarantee that
breath.
every day you look at the clock. So here's your practice. If you think that you don't, just start with a log. Okay, make a month log on a single piece of paper. You know, October 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and then make little tallies on each day, the number of times you look at a clock. If you're resisting me on the idea. If you're not resisting me on the idea, what I'm going to suggest is every time you look at the clock, you wonder to yourself about what time is.
Do that anyway.
Okay. But you're going to do it specifically
Right.
every time you look at what the part that you leave out of your practice, James, is your framework. You don't put it in a framework, and so it's not giving you much torque. You're not getting very deep into it. Everything is still too vague. If you put it in a framework, for instance, every day when I look at the clock, I'm going to do this as a practice every day. When I look at the clock, I'm going to wonder what time is, or I'm going to ask myself something different. You know, you put in your own question. You know, but just for a moment, I'm going to close my eyes and ask myself, what is time? I'm going to do that every time I look at a clock. Okay, I'm going to keep my log. I'm going to note it. I'm going to note how many times of the day I looked at the clock and how many times I remembered to just close my eyes and ask the question. You're going to do it in the same framework that you would with the doors. I'm getting some feedback again. I don't know what it is. Stop it. Talking to my computer. Okay, so you're going to lay out your practice.
Yeah.
For instance,
Yeah, because it's changed.
for instance, that you're going to do the practice every day. You're going to do it every day at such and such time, or if it's a practice that's ongoing, you know, you don't note the time.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you're going to lay out what it is. Every time I walk through a door, I'm going to take a deep full breath. I'm going to note every time that I remember, and I'm going to be aware of, you know, what sort of ratio that fell into. 10% of the time I walk through doors, I remember to take a deep full breath. It doesn't have to be exact. It just has to be a practice done every day and documented.
Okay.
So for the experiment, come up with a schedule of practices or even one practice. When you choose one practice, it tends to be uber powerful. You don't have to choose a lot of different practices. You know, just put one in there and see how you do with the one. My practice schedule looks big because I've worked, you know, over the process of 55 years, all of that into just being my life. You know, it's just my life. There are 3 items in there that I didn't do every day, and that takes a lot of focus to get them done. Including the 3 full breaths before I get up. That seemed to be the hardest one for me to do. draft your schedule for the days that are pretty free, and you can focus in. Draft out your schedule for your busy days, and then cite your observations going in. And then every day that you come in to share something in the thread, share it in a similar format. You can talk too about stuff, but don't leave out the point where you're mentioning that you were either able to adhere to your practice schedule or not, and list what you weren't able to do or didn't do that day, and your observations. Never leave those parts out. Every time you post, put them there. Okay. As you do it, it'll become more natural and more effortless. It's a bother at first. I know it takes time. It makes you stop and think. And yes, you have to do that. Until it becomes natural, you have to do that with anything, right?
Yeah.
Anytime we're doing something for the first time, it takes more conscious effort, until it doesn't anymore and it's sort of natural. What's something you do every day, Anton?
I've been more or less going to my list, but pretty weak the last few days because I had company tiring me out. Still pretty tired.
Okay. We need to do what I just went through with James with you now. Gosh, this static feedback just drives me nuts.
I'll put mine off. Hang on.
Not hearing it.
Yeah, it's on my lap. I'm getting to the point where I need another laptop. When you're making movies on the laptops, they go down really fast. They don't even last a couple years sometimes. So we need to put your practices into a framework of practices that you can do every day, or a practice. Again, it could simply be 3 full breaths before you get up in the morning, but every day. And you're going to document anything about that comes to you in your log. Okay, I honestly don't see why anybody wouldn't be able to do that. So if you can't even do that, we're not ready for this consciousness experiment. Come up with a practice that you can do every day, and add on that in any way that would enhance you.
My Triteka, I guess you call it, had an interesting result the one day, and then I've had company the last couple of days. But I still did try to do it a little bit, but I was just too tired in the evening. I guess I should have tried to do it in the morning. I did a little actually, but I guess when I have company, I'll have to shift to the morning or something.
If you keep devising practices that you can't do, there's no experiment. This is only an experiment. If you can devise a practice that you can do every day, that you can log every day, and that you can share with us in our thread on the board pretty much every day. And then be here for Wednesdays, so that we can see what kind of effect that begins to take place in our practices from this. So what is something you keep telling me about what you guys can't do every day, but I'm not hearing something that you can do every day. So we got James there. Now let's get you there. What can you do every day? Can you take 3 full breaths before you get up out of bed in the morning?
I forget most of the time.
Can you do it?
I have done it, but I forget half the time.
So how do you not forget? You write a note to yourself, you put it in the bed or on the nightstand or somewhere that you're going to see, and you say, oh yeah. And if you got up before you did it, you get yourself back in the bed, you lay down, you can do this, you don't work, you have all the time in the world. So don't tell me you can't do this. I'm going to be hard on you. You get back in the bed, you lay down, and you take 3 full breaths, and you say to yourself, tomorrow morning, I'm going to remember before I get up out of the bed. And you do this for as long as it takes for you to develop the habit of awareness of remembering.
Yeah. I guess I'm not going to sign on to the 3 breaths just because I think it'll interrupt with my sleep recall, my dream recall, which isn't great either. But if I'm worried about doing the 3 breaths in the morning, I'm going to not do my recall probably.
You do your recall, you write everything down. I do that in the bed on my lap, laying down.
No, I've mostly been working with Triteka, you know, I'm saying it right.
Let's get to something that you can do every day. If we can't get there, Anton, you can not participate in the experiment until you find something that you can. But what I'm trying to tell you is that there's no experiment if you can't come up with even one little tiny thing that you're going to focus on and do every day. That
I've been
is
doing
the
every day. I've been doing
that is the experiment. So without it, there's no experiment.
I've been doing my Triteka every day in 2 different forms, although the last 2 days really weak. And well, actually, the day before yesterday, I pretty much keeled over and went to bed. Pretty much knocked out.
So you need to have something that you can do even on a very busy day. And then that and something else that you're going to do, like I said, it doesn't have to just be that, but it has to at least be that. You know what I'm saying? No days where there's not a practice. And I mean, you're serious about this. You make it be an important thing. This is something that you're doing. So if there's not a level of seriousness, you know, if you're not going to take it seriously, there's not going to be a verifiable result to the experiment.
Yes, well, very distracting guests, and I'm going to have another guest next week too. It's unusual for me to have guests, but
right. So, but even if you have a guest, there's something that you can do every day. Come up with it. Whatever it is, I'm just giving that as an example. If you don't want to do that one, that's fine, but come up with something that you can do.
Well, what's wrong with Protect?
And are going to do as a practice, seriously, every day. You do the practice, you document the practice, you put it in the thread on most days, along with your observations. If there are no observations, I know you're not doing your practice. A practice always has observations. In fact, make that be a part of the practice. I'm going to practice Tritak, and while I'm practicing Tritak, I'm going to practice my observational skills. I'm going to look for something new that's happening here today. Maybe what's new isn't happening in the practice itself, but it's new because, yeah, today I'm practicing in a very tired state. Even though I'm very tired, I'm going to do this practice before I lay myself down for the night, if it happens to be nighttime that you're practicing. You know, sight, how you began tired, but as you entered the practice, you became less tired. You know, that just generally happens when I'm practicing. Sight what the observations are. Get good at making observation. Critical element of any experiment is observation. Without the observation, again, not much of an experiment. You can't see what happened without the observation. For yourself specifically, anyway. Ioana, how did your week of practices go?
It was fine. The logging in is a bit difficult.
We didn't see you at all. I wasn't sure you were partaking.
Yeah, yeah, so the logging in is a problem at the moment, or it was a problem this week. So we'll see how this week goes, but it's very, yeah, I was giving a workshop Saturday, and then after that I was so tired, and then so my practice is actually, I have a few things that I do every day, and because one of the things that there are, I don't know if you're familiar with the concept of Strengths Finder. There is it's strengthsfinder.com or something like that. You can, so there is this statistics organization that came up with the fact that there are 34 big categories of qualities that we have, and they say why try to improve what we do, what we don't have as a quality, and why not just go from your own big qualities. And there are tests that you can do, and you get like the first five, and then you get you can also do another test. It's paid, but not very much, and then you can find out which qualities are in the and I did this a few months ago, and consistency is my last quality from the 34. So that's, consistency is not something that I do easily. So knowing this, I was looking at what do I do normally, what I do naturally. So what are my practices that I don't skip any day, like just like brushing teeth. And there are a few, and I chose to do them every day. And it was interesting because at one point, one of them just disappeared, which was very annoying that I didn't log in every day to. So the practices are, one is just writing my dreams, which is easy to do because they are different every day, but I note them even if shortly. And last night, I had a very big dream with you, Casey, so that was interesting. And then when I start the day, after writing it, I do aromatic anointment, it's called. Oh, I lost you. You're frozen, all of you.
Well, but we can hear you.
Or we could.
Oh, okay. So I do an aromatic anointment with my essential oils, and it depends on the day or on the feeling, but I always do that, and it's like 10 minutes, or it can be half an hour or something like that. And something else what I do, I keep a body journal, because like last week I was saying that I had this problem for a long time, like for 2 years, and I wasn't sure what it was. And I thought keeping a body journal and just noting what's happening and in what kind of categories things fall was an easier thing for me to see the patterns. And that that's also another practice. And I have other practices, but these are the main ones.
Okay, and now we want to link these practices in to consciousness exploration. And so, what is the point of your practice? You practice these things for the, relative to consciousness exploration, for what purpose? What's the point? Are you able to tell us?
Yes. So the first one is to, the first one links me, because dreams are always a big part of my life, and I always thought that actually dreams are real, and the real life is not real. But in that way, I was doing what it's called the consciousnness, or the spiritual bypassing sometimes. So I was just going beyond my borders physically, and also not really paying attention to the physical body or what it was saying. So the second and the third one, the second and the third practice, are linking my consciousness to the physical body in that day, if that makes sense.
It does.
And you're frozen again, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, we can hear you. You're not frozen on our end, I don't think. You're not on my end. Okay, and so that was very well stated. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm going to stop my video just a second.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can hear you, like that's better, I think. So these three practices are linking, so the dream noting is linking the physical with the consciousness, so my travels from the night, let's say, and the second and the third one are linking the consciousness to the body, and so through the body. And it was very interesting because I was noting all kind of things with the body, and then all of a sudden, just when I noted everything that happened this last week, it just changed. So that was very interesting. Just all of a sudden, things that were going on for 2 years, and just all of a sudden, boom, they were gone.
So let's say here, because this is important, that the more conscious awareness you give to yourself and what you are doing in your day, the more conscious awareness you are likely to have in the night as you are dreaming with what you are doing as you are dreaming. The two go hand in glove. Okay, so when you develop a habit of awareness, and I'll say here that this is not so much about the concept of consistency as it is in developing a habit of awareness. Okay, and you can do this through using a variety of different tools and techniques. The reason that the logging, and specifically logging together in our group threads, is because one of our practices is practicing as a group. That's something that we're practicing in the middle of all of our practices. We're practicing as a group. Yeah, so I'm not just a drummer drumming on my own anymore. I'm going to get together with a saxophone player and a guitar player and a few others, and we're going to practice as a group. We're doing the same thing. It's not as easy. There's a whole new dynamic that we have to acclimate ourselves to and sort of sink in together with. And so it's about developing this habit of awareness. And I don't know if that helps you see that this is something that you are perhaps exceedingly good at or not. But perhaps it might, to a degree, more than the concept of consistency. And you already having the thought or notion that you're not very good at that. How about developing a habit of awareness and thinking about it in this term? Okay, and a part of that habit of awareness is the habit of awareness of what it is and what it's like to practice our practices in a group with other like-minded individuals. And again, syncing together as individuals and as a group. That's perhaps the main practice
Very interesting
happening.
that you're saying about singing, because that was in my dream. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, tell us about your dream.
So
in 5 minutes or
yeah.
less.
Yeah,
Because I know you have long dreams.
I have very detailed recollections so when I do so. Yeah, I'm not going to keep. But
What were the main concepts?
thing was that, the main thing was that you were in my kitchen or in my parents' kitchen, and you were visiting for a while, and it was the interaction between us that also about food. So it's very symbolic because food and I was offering some food which is vegetarian, but you said no because it's made with sadness. I don't want to eat it. And there was a lot of interaction, and I was thinking, oh, I cannot. She's here only for a few days. So I should take advantage of this, but now I have this training that I have to do, because today I was at the training and the next 3 days. And I was thinking, oh, so she's only for a few days here, but I'm not here to enjoy this. And there was a lot of thing about food and sharing food. And then you gave some food, and that was more pure, but I was embarrassed to ask for it, because so it was really, really interesting. And then at one point there was somebody from the family, which not in real life, but in the family in the dream, that was behind you. They came she came behind you, and she was handicapped, a gypsy young woman. How do you call that? Not handicapped as a physique, but in her outing as a human. And she was humming, and you turned to her completely, and I was like, oh my God, look at that, how completely your attention is going to her. And while you're tuning into her completely, she started singing and you started singing. And you were singing together, and all of a sudden this amazing voice came out of her, and she was completely like, in that thing, she was completely genius. And I was like, oh my God, Casey, you can get that out of her. And then you turned to me and you said, you're also going to be a singer before you started this real life. So this life that you're living now. So that was your purpose, also to be a singer. And I was like, oh my God, really? And you said, yeah, but now it's a bit too late. So that was the gist of it, because there were more things, but but it was so symbolic. And I woke up, I was thinking, what does that say about
That's phenomenal. That's a good dream.
Yeah.
That's a really good dream.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for sharing that. Does anybody else have any dreams from this week they'd like to share?
Can I say just one more thing? Because something more in the practice, and just very short, what I was doing this week.
I'm going to have to close my door. I'll be right back.
Connecting with gratitude. Oh, she's gone? Okay, let's wait.
Okay, I just had to, somebody came home, I had to close the door.
Okay.
Okay.
So something else that I was doing this week, connecting with gratitude, and in very short, very intense moments. So just being completely connected to everything that is in that moment, whatever it is, even if it's something annoying, and being in gratitude that I experienced it. So that was a fourth part of the gratitude.
Very good. Doing things that, and that takes an observation to be able to do that in the first place, right? Noticing that that's not something that we normally do, having the idea then that it might be helpful, having the idea to do this on purpose as a practice, and noticing, observing the observable effect. So what kind of effect is that having on you when you're able to remember to invoke the practice? Did anybody else have any interesting visions or dreams or OBEs that they want to share?
I just had a little semi-lucid one just before I came on. I had a little nap before I came on here, and that was a almost a lucid dream. I got the reality check in, but instead of coming aware, it snapped me over to another dream scene, which was actually a lesson pointing out to me that I hadn't dealt with a certain aspect that I thought I had dealt with, and an emotional thing that actually showed me about stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah, interesting.
I thought I'd dealt with something, but
something that required further action or further attention. You documented that one?
not yet. I hadn't had time yet. I just come on straight on here, but that's still fresh because it was semi-lucid. I managed to get a reality check in because my shoes had disappeared and I was walking on my feet with no shoes on. It's sort of like that. It was a semi-lucid, but I didn't become aware. It just stopped me into a scene where an emotion was brought to my attention that I thought I had dealt with, but clearly not. So,
it's interesting the things that are
documented.
still there that we think that we've dealt with,
Yeah.
or even just like ideas that we have, like, yeah, I'm ready to leave this life and things like that. Yeah, I'm ready to go out of body consciously. Yeah, no. Were we ready, it would be happening. Yeah, and we get to go in there and see. Like, I was always infamous for saying, oh yeah, no, I'm ready to leave this life. Yeah, I've learned everything I came here to learn. I'm ready to go on. Yeah, if I have the opportunity, I definitely go. I was shown in the first year of my OBEs, yeah, because I was like taken to the point where I was on a trajectory leaving, and I myself turned. I was just like looking at a few things, going, "Oh yeah, no, I definitely need to go back and do that." So it's funny the things that we get to see about ourselves. Screw ourselves on straight. A lot of times we're just not screwed on straight. Too much in our head, and our judgment and things like that, when we think it's not there so much. It is. Yeah. And it's a joy when we get to see that it still is, because then we're able to address it. If it's just there and we're never acknowledging it and we're never addressing it, we're just going to carry it with us, as we take our next step, wherever that happens to be. Anton?
No, but I thought I dealt with death and grief and loss, but it turns out that I was kidding myself. No, it showed me that I hadn't. That's actually not went away. Even with the understanding I've got, that pain still sits there. It's obviously deep buried, but yeah, that came right up to the surface. So I've not dealt with that at all. But I thought I had. I thought you're right to say I thought I had.
Yeah.
I want to go back and deal with that one. Yeah. Dreams are good.
Yes. Mm-hmm. The communication between our higher fractal consciousness and our consciousness, regardless of whether that's through, meditation or dream states, is, yeah, priceless, of course. Anton? Do you have any?
I forgot to write down. I had a dream recall. I thought I wrote it down, but I guess I didn't. I don't see it. I can't remember it either. I went going to the log area to see if I wrote it down. I thought I did. It wasn't anything profound or anything, but
yeah, if it's not standing out to you, here's another thing that, the practicing and bringing about the point of the practice more regularly. Like I don't have to look up what my dreams are because I'm remembering dreams every day. I'm documenting them every day. I'm sharing them in the group every day. They're just here in my awareness. But say I just had one dream this past week and none last week, and they're just sort of sporadic. Yeah, I'm not going to even remember what it was. I'm going to have to go back and look. You see the difference that the everyday brings? It brings things into, just being right there at the front of your awareness all the time. And this is part of what I mean by the habit of awareness.
And the one I did log earlier, experience I logged, what's today at 12? That couldn't be. Must have been last night at midnight, I guess.
Right, but
And
before you go on to that, Anton, is that something that you're really feeling like you want to share with us? Like I'm aware of the dreams that you wrote over there, but I mean, is there anything coming up that's important to you that you want to share that importance with us?
Well, I wrote it down here, but it wasn't a dream. It was Trateka experience. I was staring at it happened at this house actually, not the other place. And I just got back here about an hour ago. Well, just before I got here, just in time to start this from up north. But so I'm tired. That's why I'm tired.
I do want to congratulate you on being very good about getting here each Wednesday. And that's something, guys, this is a practice. And showing up every Wednesday to have the talk, as a group is a practice. And Anton's been very good about it. Some of the other ones too, he tried, but nobody else was coming. And so we decided that we would just all meet here together as a group. So go on. I just wanted to congratulate you on that and let you know I appreciate it.
I was staring at the ceiling. Well, so this was a few days ago, I guess, because it was here before I went up north and came back. Anyway, I was staring at the ceiling, and it's a textured ceiling. So I was just picking a speck out of there. They're all kind of similar, but I saw actually two specks that were close together that I could keep my eyes on, because I could always look at the left speck or actually the right speck of the two specks. And they were pretty much in the center upper area where I wanted them to be. So I was doing that for a while, not really paying a whole lot of serious attention to it. And all of a sudden, the ceiling went like this. Instead of being flat above me, it went like this all of a sudden. And I'm still wondering, was that an OBE or was that just water collecting in my eye? I don't think it was the former. I don't think it was the water collecting in my eye because that would have been one eye only and not both eyes, evenly. And my mind would have rejected it, as the ceiling fall, boom, and I got a little adrenaline jolt, out of it, and that just blew my practice from there on, So I still don't really know, because I didn't hear any pop or anything noise. There was no difference in brightness. There was no change at all, except for, it's all of a sudden the ceiling's tilted all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
And that freaked me out, so I shocked right out of it because I almost like a physical reaction, like the sky is falling.
So let's bring this idea into play. In the practice of Tritak, and Tritak meaning conscious gazing, and this is very similar to when we're having the out-of-body experience. We know that if we get too emotional in the experience, it pops us right out of the experience. That's our central nervous system. That's our back body guard that isn't going to let more than what the central nervous system can handle into the system. And so this is, again, why we need to do the practices to help prepare the central nervous system for the practices. The point of the practice is not immediately, is not directly the experience that comes about as a result. The point of the practice is to develop the pattern of awareness that comes with a practice that's done daily. The experiences that happen in that is a side effect. It's an extra added boon, but that's happening in that pattern or habit of awareness that you're creating by doing the practice every day. And that habit of awareness, when we put it there every day, begins to expand so that it's not just there for the moment or two or three in which we're doing and having the practice, but it starts to spread out. You know, you'll notice that as you go on through your day, you're breathing differently, that you're looking at things differently, that this pattern or habit of awareness is now permeating additional moments of your day when you're not specifically doing the practice, but just sort of doing everyday things, you know? And so it begins to pattern out, and this is a very big part of the practice. So Anton is letting us know that his central nervous system got dinged, got shocked, and that shock ended the experience. Yes, absolutely. And so now what? That's the observation. My central nervous system got shocked, the experience stopped. That's the observation. Now what?
Well,
What's the question? What's the question? And what's the new idea?
To me, the idea is to keep trying to get to that point again, and this time be ready for it, you know, emotionally. So I wasn't ready for it. I didn't really expect anything to happen. And I was just kind of going through it, rote, you know, and bam, you know, it happened.
And very specific observations can be made in this. What did the body do? Tightened up. Okay, so I have to learn how to keep the body relaxed when I'm seeing something beyond the usual. So what's a practice I can do to help keep the body relaxed? Anybody?
Well, any of this.
Any what?
Any, you know, like a mantra or anything like that could work for
Okay.
that. For me, it's just a matter of being emotionally prepared for something that might happen, you know, and which I wasn't.
Yes, or a
I
command.
didn't really expect anything to happen. So I have to allow the possibility, you know, and be ready for something to happen maybe, rather than being totally taken by surprise, you know. That's why I say I want to try to get to the same point over and over again and try to control my reaction to that point.
There's the point of doing the practice every day and even multiple times a day, you know, on good days. There still needs to be observation. The observation should be observing the mind, what the thoughts were that snapped me out of this. Holy fuck. What was that? Wait a minute, I'm not ready for it to go that fast. You know, to just be aware of what's happening in the mind, be aware of what's happening in the energy system. What got shocked? What was so shocking? What was so shocking about that to the energy field? You know, where did you tighten up in the body?
Not much. And I didn't really even have a mental shock that bad or an emotional shock. I tried to get back into it almost immediately. But physical, it was the physical jolt that stopped me, because when I started to lay down again and try to close my eyes, not close my eyes, try to stare at it again, I just couldn't, because my eyes were watering so bad that I couldn't go any further with that.
Right.
My eyes were actually tearing down my face.
So this is important.
So it was because of that adrenaline spike, you know, the physical reaction. So I kept my mind cool. I kept my emotions. I went right back into it, but my body was spiked from that adrenaline, and I actually ended up having to give up.
And what I'm trying to share in regard to that is that the more observation you can make about what was so effective in the mental field, in the emotional field, and in the body field, the more
Really
apt
says-
you are to be ready the next time you go into practice. If you didn't observe what actually happened, what just happened is very likely to happen again until the observation is made. The idea isn't to control. The idea is to evolve, so to speak. And we do that by not enforcing our will, but making awareness itself the most dominant presence there. Okay, when awareness is the dominant present, it automatically handles things well. Awareness does that. You know, it will say to the lungs and circulatory system, relax, open, breathe, and it will invoke a breathing pattern through you that is very relaxing and calming to the central nervous system. It will send messages to your muscles to relax. Okay, so again, every time that you see something beyond what you're ready to see, there's a reason for it. And you can go into what that is. Okay, you can also log that this has happened now. This can possibly happen in my experience. You imagine it happening and you deliberately scan your field to clear the mental field, to clear the energy field, to clear the physical field, while you're carrying the idea of that happening, what it means. Okay, any questions you may have in regard to this, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All of this will come up. And it happens in a second when the practice is that fast. You know, it's immediate. We already know that the shock that happens is somewhat fast. And this is the same when we're doing the mirror gazing. You know, some things will begin happening and you're just like, whoa, you know, and the vision comes back to normal, and then you focus again until it starts shifting into something that's beyond your capacity to handle. And you'll notice that one of the things that you most immediately start doing is breathing differently. And so, yes, breathing is one way that we can clear the energy field and body field and keep things nice and calm. Another is that state of neutrality where you're not on one or the other side of a fence about something. You're just in pure observation mode. And so part of the practice of Chutak then also becomes the complementary practice of being able to hold a point of focus, a point of observation, pure neutral observation. This is the soul point. And so you're actually inviting more of the soul into the body to help you have the experience without freaking out. Yeah.
Well,
so
again,
practices begin to compile. And so what I'm saying is you can always look deeper into something to assist yourself in more rapidly progressing through the practice. Or you can not look deeply into it and you can go the long route where, you know, you're at that 2-minute talk for 20 years, you know, before something happens. And you notice you're able to hold a point of focus very naturally, very effortlessly, very easily without any more barriers. Once when you begin to do the talk and you're having to hold the eyes open just slightly wider than normal to keep them from blinking deliberately. You will have these barriers wherein you reach a point where you experience a release, and this is the eyes watering. Once you get to this point, you want to close the eyes and rest and focus on any after images that are appearing in front of your closed eyes. You no longer continue the open-eyed practice. Now you're done with the practice. You don't do another Chutak. you rest. That was the practice of your talk for today, or for this session, if you happen to practice early in the morning, midday, and at night, as some people do. You may notice that if you sit to meditation first, get yourself into a very concentrated state first, and then open the eyes to have a tritak, that the mind is already concentrated, that the eyes don't blink for a very long period of time naturally, normally, and they don't water. There is no barrier. The concentrated state of awareness has already occurred. You've gone into it first. And, you know, the tritak's going to be longer. Yeah, and then you may get shocked, but it's not to the point where the practice isn't getting to the point where the eyes water. You know, and so you keep doing the tritak. You know, you come back and let everything expand again. Notice when you can't hold it and have to bring the visuals back to normal, etc.
So that's mostly what I have, I guess.
Can I ask you a question, Casey?
Absolutely.
So I observed that I enjoyed the gazing in a mirror much more when I didn't need the glasses to see it well. And because I was seeing myself very clearly in the mirror, and then it was easier to just focus, I think. And with the glasses, it's not, it's for me not possible. So could you maybe say something about that?
You froze in the middle of that. Did you say without the glasses it's not possible?
Yeah, without the glasses I experience a less. So because I cannot focus as well in my eyes, then I have a difficulty. I notice that I have a resistance to do it because I cannot focus. So it's like before I could focus in, like I said last time, I could focus in my eyes, but sometimes my eyes are so blurry that to see clearly I would need glasses, but with glasses is not really, yeah, I cannot, I go beyond the physical with the glasses because it's just, I don't know exactly how to describe that, but it's yeah, maybe you could talk about that a little bit. Do you think that?
Well, I have the same vision. I need glasses to see clearly, and even with these glasses, don't see entirely clearly. Because they have 3 different spectrums in them. So there's no reason why you can't practice with the glasses. So if you prefer to use the glasses, use the glasses.
No, so that's what I don't prefer to use the glasses, but without the glasses, I don't see focused. So it's like a conundrum.
Yeah, it's not important to see focused. What's important is to develop the point of focus, meaning to the steady flow of attention, not visuals, the steady flow of attention. So you take your attention into your outline there, and you don't have thoughts. You don't, start looking over here. You look at yourself, and you keep the steady flow of attention going in that direction, period. You just hold the attention steady. So it's not so much about what you see as it is holding the attention steady. And you will begin to see things in there, but with the more fuzzy vision, you'll see them inside your awareness more fundamentally than you may see them in the mirror. Yes, and this is
And that's the
what
point.
I would call a graduated version of the Trajak.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, kudos.
Okay.
Go for without the glasses. Yeah. I like both. There's different times when I like both. You know, like one over the other. I have
You ever
something.
tried using the black mirror, Casey? Sorry.
Yeah, what's the black mirror? Because I still let you.
I made one. I've had a little bit of practice, but it's just I used a picture frame. I made a picture frame. So it's a black. That's just a black mirror. It's just jet black, but it has a reflection. I used a picture frame, and you spray paint the black with matte black paint and put it back on, so you've got a reflective surface, but it's jet black. And I've been using that, just looking at blackness.
So do you
Mostly what I've got just now is that my reflection disappears and it's just jet black. But I've not managed to bring
you said it just
anything
a
else out
little
of that
too
yet.
fast for me, James. Can I get you to say that again?
Pardon? I was asking you if you'd experimented with the black mirror.
Yes, I would like to know how you made the black mirror. It's a mirror that.
Sorry. Okay.
So that's a mirror.
It's just a picture frame. It's just glass.
Okay.
And you spray paint the black of the glass with matte black spray paint, then put it back in so you have the reflective surface. But jet, obviously it's jet black. But it still reflects.
But do you use that with lamp on, or do you use it in the dark? Or how?
The candle. I have candles there. I was looking at an actual rituals that were done with this, with 2 candles on posts. And you'd have the mirror through it, so you're looking through the candlelight, but through the posts into the black mirror. It's a ritual that you do with that. I just started to experiment with it. But I've been distracted with other things, and so far I just get my reflection to disappear. So there's nothing at all. My face just disappears, but I can't get nothing to come through. But it's candlelight. It's just candlelight.
Now I want this to really seep into our collective awareness. The point of the practice is not the phenomena that's going to begin occurring. That's a side effect of the practice. The point of the practice is to develop a steady point of attention. It's that steady point of attention in which new phenomena can begin permeating your awareness. Okay, so it's not like we're trying to make phenomena happen, or that we should even be going after the phenomena happening. What we're going after is developing that steady flow of attention. I'm going to put my attention here. I'm going to keep my attention here for a period of time. I'm going to experience what that is. I'm going to experience what that feels like. I'm going to expand upon that flow of attention, ultimately to the point that I can walk this off of my practice mat and into my daily life, into my dream time, to the point of being able to bring data back from additional fields of my awareness into this flow of my awareness, from this reality field into this reality field, to where I'm not having to leave things behind anymore. So it's all about the flow of attention. It's not fundamentally about the phenomena. Yes, phenomena is going to occur, but we need to see what it occurs in. Does it occur when there's not a flow of attention? When attention's getting interrupted all the time? Are you able to practice on your busy days? No, it's because there's no steady flow of attention. You're too busy doing things. You're too busy in the phenomena, the phenomenal world, the visual field. Okay, there's not enough attention. There's not a flow of attention, so it seems like there's no practice, no time to practice. It's not that there is no time to practice, it's that you're not taking your attention off of that and letting there be a flow of attention. Yeah, so we practice this when we can, and that's the entire point of the practice. What's the point of the practice?
Awareness. Awareness of awareness.
Developing the steady flow of attention. So when we sit to meditate, we're putting attention within ourselves, generally, and we're holding it here. And we're not thinking about things that are going out here, or what we have to do next, or what we did yesterday, or things coming up in the. We're just putting the attention right here within ourselves, and we're holding it here. To develop this habit of awareness, this steady flow of attention into this point. And yes, things are going to begin arising up in here. But what we're doing is we're holding the point of attention. Because as soon as we don't have the point of attention, we're not even aware of what's rising up in it. It first takes that steady flow of attention. So that's almost the entire point of the practice. Again, yes, things are going to arise in it, but it's not the point of the practice. What's the main point of the practice?
I've been wanting things to happen not so much. But yeah, just focus, just attention, just having attention.
A steady attention. Yes, I'm going to put my attention on this. I'm not going to divide my attention into a lot of different fields. I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to keep it here. For 2 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour, I'm going to put it right here. And I'm not going to move it. I'm going to put it right here. Steady attention, developing a steady flow of attention is the point of the practice. And without that, nothing else happens. When you're paying attention to the phenomena arising, sure, the phenomena is arising to a particular degree, and it's arising in a steady flow of attention that you've developed, but it will never go beyond a certain point if you don't take your steady flow of attention beyond a certain point. When you take your attention and you learn to hold the attention still, you'll naturally find yourself being more aware.